The way you beat a guy like that, you're not going to outbox him. If you're waiting on him and he's initiating and he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering the counter, you're going to lose that fight.
You know AJ's chin's gone, right? And I'm not saying that I believe that. I don't believe that. I think getting beaten up by Daniel Dubois does not mean your chin's gone, especially when you keep getting up and you manage to rock him late in the fight and you stayed in the fight. And I think Daniel Dubois is a freak like... AJ is a freak. He's a one-off. He's not. Jake Paul is not Daniel Dubois. But some people are genuinely giving Jake Paul a chance. That's blowing my mind here.
Now looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 30.
Kellerman recently shared why he thinks Jake Paul might beat Anthony Joshua. He said Joshua is very skilled and a former heavyweight champion, but age may not be in his favor anymore. Jake Paul, on the other hand, is younger, more energetic, and very confident. Kellerman believes that if Joshua wants to win, he must fight like his younger self, stay active, stay aggressive, and work harder than Jake throughout the fight.
And he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering the counter, you're going to lose that fight. Joshua has to impose his size, strength, youth, go to the body. He has to be willing to take certain risks. And if he does that...
Kellerman also said that Jake Paul actually has a real chance to win, even though many people think he is risking his life fighting a former heavyweight champion. He talked about how Jake's mindset has changed over the years. Jake has fought many times, faced different levels of pressure, and learned how to stay calm when the spotlight is on him. Kellerman believes Jake won't feel nervous at all going into this fight because he has already been in big moments many times. He says Jake performs even better when the pressure is high. Kellerman even said Jake has a 100% chance to win, not because he will definitely beat Joshua, but because Jake fully trusts his training, his skills, and his team. Some experts think Joshua might lose because he is older now, his reflexes are slower, and he doesn't have the same explosive style he had when he was undefeated and feared.
That Jake has gained in the 5 years he's been in the sport. To be in your 12th or 13th fight in front of 80,000 people, at AT&T Stadium in front of 125 million viewers, that's not experience you can gain normally. So he's going to go into that event very calm and very composed. And I fully believe that he does 100% think he's going to beat Anthony Joshua, yes.
What about the weight? Will there be a limit for Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Yeah. Both of those times, Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua? 100%.
I mean, we're just watching some of these punches being thrown now. Can he take something like that, Jake Paul?
Hey, Alexander Usyk took it, right? I think that was a perfect 1-2 combination by Joshua, again, on a fairly stationary fighter in Francis Ngannou, who had a good performance against Tyson Fury. But I don't think Tyson Fury took that fight seriously.
These experts say that while Joshua used to dominate heavyweights, now he fights more carefully and is easier to hit. They also point out that Jake Paul has improved a lot. He now has more power, better stamina, and stronger basics than he had a few years ago. Because of the age gap in both fighters' recent performances, this fight looks more interesting than people first expected.
Pretty well for Paul. He's not going to land on Joshua, is he? Joshua's going to be far too skilled in evading whatever Jake Paul could throw at him.
Because I don't believe he's an evading fighter. I think he's one of those fighters that is extremely powerful to where a fighter is simply afraid. The problem is that all of the pressure's on Joshua at the moment. So Jake Paul, if he gets knocked out in 12 seconds, he should get knocked out. The problem is as soon as Joshua starts taking damage, all of a sudden he's thinking, the world is watching me, I'm a professional fighter, and I'm getting beat off a YouTuber. All of the pressure is in Joshua, and that's a lot that can weigh on a man.
Just Jake Paul can't damage him, though.
People can damage him though. He's went down.
No, people
in a
can.
World
People
champions.
can. Yeah. No, like Alexander Usyk can, Daniel Dubois can, but these are supreme athletes. Jake,
completely correct.
Paul,
Yes, there's a difference in someone who's been boxing their entire life versus a YouTuber. I completely understand that, but you can't deny that Jake Paul has power. I think it's one of his only attributes. I think he's a very poor boxer, but what he does have is a weird technique where you don't
How
know
do we
what
know he's got power? How do we know he's got power?
He's knocked people out.
What Ben Askren and
Tyron
Tyron Woodley?
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley was
Like, come
arguably
on.
one of the best UFC fighters there's
come
ever
on,
been.
mate. Like, you
No,
can't-
mate. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that he's going to go in there and walk Joshua all over. But you can't deny that he has lights out power. It's just something he hasn't,
I would deny that. I would deny that he has that kind of power.
Yeah, in
Against
an
someone like
amateur
AJ.
boxing
Yeah.
ring, yeah, fine. But not against a two-time
Yeah, world champion.
world champion. We're talking
I
about
do,
here.
Again, I understand the contempt in what I'm saying, and I do see how it is completely stupid thinking YouTuber could break Anthony Joshua. But the thing is that he's going to be training for this fight. Joshua has all of the world looking at him thinking you should walk him over. If it gets 2 rounds, 3 rounds inside, I think Joshua loses. Yeah.
You think he gets beat?
I mean, I just think the pressure will get to him. I think if he loses to Jake Paul, he's the embarrassment to boxing. And if you get inside 3 rounds where you've not put him away like everyone thinks you will, all of a sudden that pressure to finish the fight as he should is going to gain and gain and gain.
Is there any truth in this, Jamie? Can you see a world where Dan's theory is basically this geezer can punch and he therefore has a puncher's chance? I think he's got no chance. Like slim, if none.
No chance.
None. Literally
He's got
none.
No chance.
No. It's one of them, innit? I honestly, without going like extreme, Dan, I think Anthony Joshua, if he could only use one hand, wins the fight. I honestly do.
This is the thing, and I love Joshua. You know, he's arguably the pride of Britain when it comes to boxing. He's a great fighter. But could you say he's past his best? Could you say that he's been tested too many times? The thing that it relates to me is when you look at Silva in the UFC, as soon as he got knocked out, his chin became glass. And I think that's the same with Joshua. I don't think he can take a punch anymore. I think he's one of those people where it's almost he damages way too easy now. And it's one of those things where I think when you're a boxer and you've had a few defeats...
Tony Jeffries, an Olympic boxer, gave another reason why Jake Paul should be taken seriously. He said Jake has access to everything a fighter could need: top trainers, elite conditioning coaches, sports psychologists, nutritionists, and the best sparring partners. Since Jake has money, he can create a perfect training camp without cutting any corners. Jeffries also said Jake knows this is the biggest challenge of his career, so he will train harder than ever. He added that Jake has the age advantage. In boxing, youth is a huge benefit because younger fighters recover faster, train harder, and often enter the fight stronger and more energetic.
Age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. They'll come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pounds versus 252 pounds. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had 1, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. Anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway through and switch them to 12s? But I guess these days, anything happens in boxing, right? The boys will follow similar rules to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November, but that fight was 8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves. Not similar if it's smaller gloves and 2-minute rounds. Who wrote this for DAZN? It marks the first time Joshua will have contested less than...
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.